Hello and welcome to Seamless Science with Varsha Sisodia. Today we are going to discuss about chemical coordination system. As the name suggests, chemical coordination system depends upon chemicals for transmission of messages from one part of the body to another part. And these chemical messengers are called as hormones, which are proteinaceous in nature. In an animal body, the nervous coordination system is supported by chemical coordination system for successful coordination among various parts of the body. But if you see a plant body, the coordination solely depends upon chemical coordination system. Now let us see in detail how chemical coordination system brings about coordination of various parts of a body in a plant. As we all know that a coordination system depends upon two things, stimulus and response. A stimulus is any change in the external or internal environment of a body that brings about a response. Stimulus in case of plants can be change in temperature, it can be a chemical, it can be light, or it can be water. Now towards these variety of stimuluses, plants respond in different types of movements. The movements in plants can be broadly classified into two categories. They can be either tropic movements or they can be nastic movements. Tropic movements actually are directional movements towards or away from the direction of stimulus. The word tropic literally means turning. So it can be either turning towards the stimulus or it can be turning away from the stimulus. If it is turning towards the stimulus, it is positive tropic movement, and in case if it is turning away from the source of stimulus, it is called as negative tropic movement, and the phenomena is called as tropism. In other words, tropic movements are directional movements with respect to stimulus. It can be towards or away from the stimulus. Let us try and understand tropic movements in a better way. Have you ever sown seeds? Yes, of course, you must have done it. But did you ever think before sowing the seeds whether they should be sown horizontally or vertically? Never. But still, roots always grow under the ground and shoots always grow above the ground. How does this miracle happen? This is no miracle, my dears. This is tropism. Because roots are positively geotropic, so they will always grow towards the center of gravity, and shoots are negatively geotropic, so will grow away from the center of gravity. Now if you take the stimulus as light, then shoots are positively phototropic, so will always grow towards the source of light, and roots are negatively phototropic, so they will always grow away from the source of light. This is how this miracle happens. Here is yet another example of tropic movements. This is the apex of a plant that is looking for a support. This plant is a climber. The moment it gets the support, it starts winding itself around the support, forming a structure called as tendril. So formation of tendrils is an example of tropic movements, and this specific type of tropic movement is called as thigmotropism. Now let us try and understand some different types of tropic movements. The very first one is phototropism, where the prefix photo means light. So the response towards light as the stimulus is known as phototropism. The example is growth of plant parts towards the single source of light. This example you must have seen very commonly. The second type of tropic movement is hydrotropism, where the stimulus is water. So the prefix used is hydro. The growth of roots is always seen towards the source of water. The third type of tropic movement is geotropism, where the prefix used is geo, which means gravity. So the response of plant parts towards the stimulus as gravity is known as geotropism. Irrespective of the orientation of the plant or the seed, the shoots will always grow away from the center of gravity, and roots will always grow towards the center of gravity. The next example is chemotropism, where obviously the prefix is chemo and the stimulus also is chemicals. The example is growth of pollen tubes. This we will study in detail while studying the chapter reproduction. The last one is thigmotropism, where the prefix thigmo means touch, and the example we have already seen is of tendrils. The second type of movements is called nastic movements. Nastic movements are non-directional movements. Irrespective of the direction of stimulus, the response is same. The movement of the plant will always remain same. Such movements are called as nastic movement. Here are some examples of nastic movements. This plant you must be quite familiar with. This is touch me not plant. The moment you touch the leaves, they immediately start folding away. This is a mechanism of defense for touch me not plant, mimosa. Irrespective of the direction of stimulus you provide, the response remains the same. So such movements are called as nastic movements. Here is another example of nastic movements. Whatever direction the insect enters into the trap of the Venus flytrap, it will close in the same way. So no connection with direction of stimulus, the response remains the same. I hope nastic movements were clear to you all. All the movements in plants discussed so far, may it be tropic or nastic movements, are displayed with the help of phytohormones. The phytohormones are the hormones that are produced by the plant body and are responsible for control and coordination in a plant body. There are 5 major classes of phytohormones. Let us discuss about them one by one. The very first plant hormone is auxins. Auxins are generally synthesized at the growing tips of the plants, and they are responsible for elongation of plant parts. Individual cells elongate and they result in elongation of overall plant body. They are also responsible for dominance of the apex because the concentration of auxins is maximum at the apexes of the plant, may it be root apex or shoot apex. Now let us see how exactly auxins function in a plant body. The root and shoot tips of a plant body produces auxins. The shoot tip has a specific type of auxin called as IAA, indole acetic acid. Indole acetic acid is negatively phototropic. That means to say that when it is exposed to light, it will tend to move away from the source of light. And due to this reason, the IAA is accumulated in the cells which are away from the source of light. Now IAA will increase the ability of these cells to absorb more water and minerals, and due to presence of more water and minerals, the rate of their growth will be comparatively faster and the plant part will bend towards the source of light. This is how phototropism functions. The second class of hormones is gibberellins. Gibberellins are responsible for enlargement of the cells. It also helps in inducing parthenocarpy in fruits in which seedless fruits are produced. It also helps in breaking the dormancy of the seed or the period of inactivity of the seed and helps in inducing the process of germination. The third class of hormones is cytokinins. If you look at the name carefully, you will find that it is cyto for cell and kinins for kinesis. So it helps in cell division. Cell division will increase the number of cells, and then auxins and gibberellins will help in increasing the size and height of the plant. So altogether they will help in growth of the plant. The next class of hormone that we are going to discuss is abscisic acid. It is a plant hormone that is inhibitory in nature. It inhibits cell growth and cell division. That means to say that it will inhibit growth of the plant body. It will also cause dormancy in buds and seeds. It induces wilting of leaves and closure of stomata. Now if you look at all these functions, they are very important for proper survival of a plant. Why abscisic acid inhibits them is because it is trying to manage stress for the plant. Whenever the plant is under stressed conditions, these processes can be temporarily stopped so that the stress of the plant can be managed. So abscisic acid is known as stress manager of the plant. Now the last type of hormone that we are going to discuss about is ethylene. Ethylene is a gaseous hormone that is responsible for ripening of the fruits, and synthetic copies of ethylene are also nowadays available in market, with the help of which fruits can be ripened under artificial conditions. So I hope the things were clear to you all. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.